It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant Prime.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Friday's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. So glad you could join us as we finish out the first week of New York Giants training camp. Our phone number is 201-939-4513. On Twitter, hit us up at #GiantsChat. Or if you're watching us live on YouTube, you can certainly comment or throw questions up on the site, and we'll see what we can do about getting to them. As a reminder, an archive of the show and our entire podcast network is available on the Giants mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and at Giants.com/podcasts. And as we come to you from the Giants Podcast Studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health, keep getting better, we tell you that today's practice was in a bit of a cooler setting than what we were told by the weather people. They expected it to be sizzling. It wasn't quite as hot, Matt, as I think it was predicted to be.
Ooh, I'm going to have to strongly disagree with you there. It was hot as heck in the standing on the sideline I was standing on, at least. I don't know, maybe you got a little bit of shade or something. I don't know, but me, Dan, John, we were sweating it out.
I just talked to John. He said you're absolutely right. There was a breeze and it was cooler than they thought.
There was a little breeze, I will say, but John halfway through had to go inside and get his hat after saying he wasn't going to wear the hat.
So he was talking big.
I think so.
At the table.
I think so.
Oh wow, Mr.
Sorry, John,
Brave.
not to throw you under the bus.
Yeah, you just exposed him.
He went and got his bucket hat halfway through.
I do think temperature was in the low to mid 90s.
Yeah.
And the heat index, as far as I know, did not get over 105, which is what was predicted by the weather people in the area.
It wasn't humid, which I will say helped. When it's that hot, plus the humidity, it's unbearable. I wouldn't say it was quite unbearable today, but it was certainly extraordinarily hot.
Okay. It was hot. It was warm.
I don't like the heat, so maybe we differ there.
I tolerate it better, maybe. That's all. Anyway, still, regardless, it wasn't as hot as it was projected to be. That we know. All right. Having said all of that, it was also not exactly the most eventful of practices. In fact, of the three we've had so far this week, it was probably the least eventful in terms of spectacular plays. I jotted down three. You may have a couple to add. I'll give you the quick three that I saw.
Before you get into it, I just want to say the reason I think, at least, that today's practice may not have been quite as many fireworks. The first 2 days we got a little spoiled because the offense was focused mainly on red zone work. So there were a lot of touchdowns, condensed field, so the defense made a lot of plays.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I think most of the snaps, almost all of them, took place on the offense's own half of the field, which there were some big plays, but not quite as many, touchdowns, firework plays when you're working on, your own side of the field sort of offense as opposed to condensed red zone work.
Well, that would be a good reason for less scoring. I concur. I concur with that. What I will disagree with is it doesn't matter where you are on the field. A throw can be a really awesome throw, and a catch can be a really awesome catch, no matter where the line of scrimmage is.
Of course.
And we didn't see much of that today.
But I think due to where they were practicing on the field, we saw a lot more like check down, short field throws as opposed to the, longer, deep throws.
I know what you're getting at now. You're getting more at the play calls.
Yeah. I mean, it was clear.
That's fine.
For most of practice, at least, the Giants were not, trying to even push the ball down the field, other than the occasional throw, but most of it was short field work. So,
all right, well, let's see what I wrote down. 3 plays. In the 11-on-11s, we had Russell Wilson on what appeared to be about a 60-yard bomb down the right sideline. It was a go route, one of those moon balls to Malik Neighbors. Folks, Neighbors is special. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. He's just really, really special because Paulson Adebo was in coverage. He is a terrific player. And then at the very end, when Neighbors was able to get the separation and get the ball, then Adebo stumbled and fell so that he wouldn't have been able to stop him from going into the end zone. But the throw, the catch, everything about it would have made your nightly highlight film.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with the throw. The throw is spectacular, but it's nothing that we haven't seen already from Russell Wilson going back to spring with those moon balls.
Going back 14 years in the league.
Yeah, but at least for us, seeing it in person, obviously, just the last couple months. But again, beautiful throw. Hits Malik Neighbors right in stride. As you mentioned, Paulson Adebo did slip at the very end. It was like right before Malik caught it. And, but don't let that take away from the catch or the route run by Malik. I think the reason Paulson slipped was because he was trying to catch up to Malik at the last second, knowing that he was about to, give up a 50-yard play, and that is what kind of led to him to slip. It was Malik running by him, outrunning him down the field, which is what led to that slip. But yeah, amazing throw, amazing catch. Paulson Adebo had good coverage on it for most of the play, but Malik just outran him at the end, and then he slipped.
The kid's special.
He is certainly special.
And at least once every practice, he has an eye-opening play.
Yeah, at least one, if not more.
He's something else. And by the way, to continue our theme that Matt and I talked about the other day, and John and I mentioned again, I guess it was yesterday, Banks and Adebo continue to be very sticky. So does Drew Phillips. Now, not as much from Phillips today, but Banks and Adebo had a number of plays where they were very, very sticky. And I think those two guys have really had a good camp so far.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I don't know if this was going to be one of your plays, but
go ahead.
I jotted down, again, didn't jot down the most number of plays today compared to other practices, but one of the plays I did write down was Deonte Banks with a pass breakup deep down the field and coverage from Darius Slayton. Again, it's a great throw by Russ. And great route by Slayton. Deonte Banks just made a great play and knocked the ball out at the last second for what's stopping what would have been a 30 to 40 yard gain for the offense.
Might have been a 40-yard gain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a great play by Deonte. I agree. He has given up some plays, but again, we said this on Wednesday. Like, he gave up a touchdown to Malik Neighbors where Malik just made a fantastic, tremendous play to leap over him and catch it when he had great coverage. So it's only been 3 days, but it has been an encouraging start to training camp for Deonte Banks, I would say.
That would have been one of my other three plays, or my 3 plays. That would have been one of my other 2. The other one that I had was Winston in the early 7-on-7s. Jameis Winston hits Bly, sliding catch just inside the left sideline. Banks was right there. And the ball was placed perfectly, and Bly made a spectacular sliding grab. And there were some people didn't think he was in bounds. I was right there. He was in bounds. That was sensational play all around.
Yeah, that was one of the only 2 plays I wrote down in 7-on-7s. The other one was just another big gain, contested catch. Tommy DeVito to Bo Collins.
Yeah, you like that one? Nice. I went that half a star.
Well, those are the only 2 I wrote down for the whole period. So normally maybe I wouldn't have highlighted that one, but it was a nice throw and catch.
Given the context of today's selection, that would warrant a star.
Yeah, and so
to expand on it, it was about a 30-yard pass on a crossing route, and he threw it on a laser beam. Did DeVito?
Yeah,
it was just like a tightrope, and hit Collins perfectly in stride, which is why you would have said it looked pretty.
Yeah, it looked nice. It wasn't, anything, not like the catch was anything spectacular. It was a great throw by Tommy and just good catch, big gain. So I thought it was worth just at least mentioning.
Okay.
The only other plays, let's see. Dane Belton had a sack, or a would-be sack.
Right. Know how I feel
came
about
right
those.
off the edge, but that definitely would have been a sack. It would have taken a Houdini act.
I think it would have been because they called the safety blitz and there was nobody home.
Exactly, yeah.
So I agree.
He had a straight line right
I agree.
Right
it would have
Jackson
been.
Dart.
It would have been.
And then Corey Black he had a deep pass breakup towards the beginning of 11-on-11s.
His teammates certainly loved it.
Yeah, it was a great play. Another deep pass down the field. Again, I don't know, 30 plus yards.
I thought it was 30 yards. Yeah.
And he just got his hands up at the last second, knocked the ball out. It was just a great play by Corey Black, someone we have not mentioned too often since he's been in the building the last couple months. So deserved a shout out. He made a good play.
Yeah, I was looking for anything else.
There was one other one, which I'm going to say there's 2 parts to it. There was the defense that made a good play, and then the offense that made a good play.
Yeah, the black one, that was the one down the left sideline.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So towards the end, I think it was the last team period, Elijah Garcia had what would have been a sack. He was there in the quarterback's face, and obviously did not hit the quarterback because we don't do that at practice, but he would have had it. But the coaching staff let the play go on, and then your boy Bryce Ford Whedon made a fantastic contested catch on the sideline. Again, in a game, it wouldn't have counted because it would have been a sack. But
correct,
because they let the play go on, Bryce made just a phenomenal contested catch right on the sideline. Got both feet in. The defender was draped all over him. Maintained possession as he was falling to the ground. It was just a great play.
And I always say all the time that just because they whistle a play dead in these practices, my bad, because I always say the throw still has to be made and the catch still has to be made. So regardless of whether or not it was whistled for a sack, the wide receivers coach, Mike Groh, is looking at that receiver. And if he drops the ball or doesn't make the catch, it gets marked down. If he does make the catch, regardless of what Dable called a sack in the backfield, the receiver gets credit in the receiver room for making a play. So heads up to you, you're right. I should have counted that as one of my plays because, yes, it was whistled down as a sack, and I fell victim to.
No, they didn't even blow the whistle. That's what I'm saying. Like, it would have been a sack, but they let the play go on. Like the defender, I apologize. I do forget who was in
Dable
coverage.
Didn't blow the whistle?
He did not blow the whistle, but it would have been a sack for sure.
I was downfield, and when I saw the play, and then Maz goes, no, it was a sack.
Yeah, I mean, Elijah Garcia, it was one of those plays where he just ran past the quarterback because obviously he's not going to hit the guy. So then the quarterback scrambled and hit Bryce Ford. But let me say, the
corner did blow the whistle, though, which is why I didn't originally think
That's what I was going to say. The cornerback had great coverage. Like, he did not – it's not like he stopped because he thought the play was over. Like, he was running with Bryce Ford Whedon all the way to the sideline. It was just a fantastic placement of a throw and a great catch by Bryce Ford Whedon.
It was Banks.
Was it Banks?
It was Banks. That's the throw from Winston, right?
I believe so, yeah.
It was Winston to Ford Wheaton, and Banks was right there.
Right, like there's nothing he could have done on that play better. It was just Winston put it all like on the sideline, and Bryce Ford Wheaton caught it, was able to keep his feet in bounds. It was right in front of where I was standing. And you brought up Mike Groh. Well, Mike Groh was also standing right there. He was going nuts, pumping up Bryce Ford Wheaton because it was a fantastic play.
When they both got up, you could see how Banks was upset because he thought he probably should have wrestled the ball away. He wanted that ball.
Yeah.
He didn't get it.
No. It was a great catch.
No doubt.
And I guess one last play, just the final.
Yeah, you had another one. All right,
the final play, which just because it was one of the few touchdowns we should just touch on.
Okay, go ahead.
Just Jackson Dart. The ball was lined up, I want to say, on like the 15-yard line.
It was inside the 20. Jackson
Dart hits Cam Scadaboo in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. Scadaboo gets both feet in. Nice throw, nice catch. Nothing spectacular. Wasn't one of the top plays, but just because we only had a very few touchdowns today due to where they were practicing most of the day, deserved just a little shout out. That's how they concluded practice, the very last play.
Simple release out of the backfield. He beat the linebacker to the outside, touchdown.
But I will say, just another piece of evidence that Cam Scadaboo, he's going to have an impact in the passing game.
Yes, he will.
More than capable of catching the ball.
Yes, he will.
And it is clear that the coaching staff is already starting to, build a little bit of confidence. Obviously, it's only day 3 of training camp, but they know what he can do in the passing game, and I think they're going to utilize him there.
Think of Greg Comella. You remember Greg, right?
Yep.
Think of Greg Comella, folks, in terms of he was a fullback on this team, and he wasn't used much to carry the ball, if at all. But when he was in the game, he blocked, and then he wound up going out for passes, and often would catch the short flare out or the screen or just a little circle route to the outside. Comella was definitely a viable part of the passing game in Kerry Collins' offense back in 2000. Now, I'm not comparing Scadaboo to Comella in any other way other than potentially using him like that in the pass game.
Yeah, that's fair.
Having said that, there was one other item today. We do not have any injury update information on the collision between Wan'Dale Robinson and linebacker Brian Burns. There was a pass play to the left sideline as the players were converging. Robinson and Burns simply ran into each other. It was that simple. It happens on the field sometimes. They just bang, knocked into each other. Both guys were a bit slow getting up, but both guys did walk off under their own power, and we do not have any further information as to where they stand right now.
Yeah, no injury updates from that. It was a pass to Greg Dulcich. He caught it. He was running towards, obviously trying to get to the end zone. He was probably 25, 30
he wasn't
yards
gonna
out.
make it.
No way he was making it. I will say, I commend Brian Burns because obviously he's an outside linebacker. He was sprinting all the way downfield to try to catch up, to try to make a play. And unfortunately, it's just as he was, getting close to Dulcich, Wan'Dale Robinson was kind of coming across. They didn't see each other. They just ran into each other. Mm-hmm. It was just one of those kind of unfortunate collisions. But obviously, we hope they're okay. But I will just tip my cap because it was a great hustle play by Brian Burns. Just unfortunate end result.
You see those collisions sometimes on Route 3.
Yeah.
I mean, they just happen.
They do. Hopefully they'll, be okay.
Exactly.
We'll see.
All right, so that's all we got in terms of today's practice report. It was a practice session number 3. The players are off tomorrow, and they'll be back on the practice field again on Sunday.
Which means we are off tomorrow.
It does.
Yeah. I know you might not like that, but during training camp, we don't get many days off. So
I know we don't.
The occasional one we do.
I don't want days off.
You just want 46 straight days of training camp going right into week 1.
I'd be fine with 8 months straight. You know me. You guys all know me. I don't want to take a breath. I just want to keep going. All right. Hey, Pearson. You got a second to update us on what's going on with the huddle? I know there's a lot of stuff that's been recorded the last few days. This is a good time just to check in with you.
Yeah. Yesterday we had Connor Orr go up. He's a writer for Sports Illustrated, and he had an article on Russell Wilson. They kind of talked about him most of the interview. Mm-hmm. And today we have Justin Pugh going up on the huddle as he announced
officially
retired as a Giant today.
No, we didn't even bring that up, really.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of figured that was going to be in his spiel, and I was going to follow up.
But yeah, he had a press conference. He'll be on the huddle. So we'll get tons of Justin Pugh content.
Yeah. Justin Pugh came back to just sign a one-day contract to officially retire as a New York Giant. And it was really great to meet his family. His little daughter is just adorable.
Yeah, she is.
So,
I guess he's going straight back to the couch.
Well, it sounds like he's got a lot of work involved.
No, he does.
And
he's got a lot going on.
And I'm sure we will see him down the road many more times here on campus. Folks, Giants 2025 season tickets are available, and you can get your seats at MetLife Stadium. But don't forget, you can also stay connected to the team all year round. For exclusive member access and benefits, visit Giants.com/tickets. And, of course, don't ever forget the Giants TV streaming app. It is free. It is on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and the Giants mobile app. And again, as we always tell you, you get all the highlights and see some of these plays that we've talked about so you can view them for yourselves. You don't necessarily have to take our descriptions at face value. You can get a look and then say, yeah, that's what they were talking about on the program today. That was cool. So don't be afraid to do that. Giants TV is the official Giants mobile app. All right. Let's head over to the phone calls, and I believe our first caller is Marco in Connecticut, one of our regulars. Hello, Marco. You're first on the show.
Hey, fellas. How you doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
How are you?
I'm doing great. I have to. I'll just get my points out, and then I got to jump, and I'll listen offline. But John had a call. John had a BBK recently with Lance where they were talking through the depth on the team and the different position battles. And he started talking about the offensive line, and it got me thinking about some of the vets that are on the team. Like he mentioned Aaron Stinney, potentially on, like now that vets could potentially be on the practice squad. I was curious about the practice squad. And if a vet is signed onto the team at a specific contract, what happens to a player if they are cut and then end up on the practice squad? Do the dollars change for the player? I guess that's my first question.
Yes, they get practice squad salary. It's a week-to-week basis practice squad salary, unless when they sign their practice squad contract, they're offered a bonus, which is allowed, but does not have to be the case. Now, the 1-year deal, assuming that's what you're talking about, that let's say an Aaron Stinney, let's use him for an example. This is hypothetical, folks. Stinney signs a 1-year deal with the Giants, re-signs one during the offseason. Assuming there's no guaranteed money in there. Okay, if there's guaranteed money in there, he gets that money, no matter what happens to him. But if he is released and then brought back to the practice squad, he is now signing a new contract. That is a practice squad contract. And he gets paid week to week. And if there is no bonus involved, that's it. There's no incentives. There's no other clauses in it. That's what he gets unless he is elevated to the 53. When a player is elevated to the 53, they now get a minimum game check that equates to being on the 53. So you can get a raise. If you're one of those practice squad guys and you get bumped up the maximum 3 times that you can get bumped up during the season, that means each of those 3 times you're getting a full-fledged NFL 53-man roster minimum game check for each one of those 3 games that you get elevated for. That's one of the reasons why at the end of the season, you'll notice under Joe Shane's administration, in the last game of the year, they usually bump up 1 or 2 practice squad guys. And even though they may be inactive and not get a jersey on game day, it is a reward to them for working so hard during the season and being diligent on the practice squad. It's like, okay, guys, last game of the year, we're going to bump you up and get you a real game check for that final game. As kind of, it's in effect, it's kind of like a nice bonus for them.
Paul, thanks for bringing up that. I remember that's happened a couple of years now. That is a great point. Here's the last question, then I'll jump. If a player's on the practice squad, and if a player's on the practice squad, are they subjected to any team in the league possibly scooping them up?
Yes.
And they are but can the player reject it? If a team comes calling, they could. They could decide to stay on the squad.
Correct.
They can, and a lot of times, if a player has interest from another team that's on the practice squad, obviously the team that the guy is currently on knows that their interest is there, and that's why a lot of times you'll see a team then sign the guy off of their own practice squad, elevate him to the active roster to prevent another team from scooping him from their own practice.
That happened with Davis Webb a few years ago.
Yeah.
The Dolphins wanted to sign Davis Webb off the practice squad to their 53. The Giants said, okay, you know what? We'll just activate you to our 53 instead. It was near the end of the season.
Or the player could say, hey, I don't want to travel cross country. I want to stay where I'm at.
Yeah.
And just continue to be on the practice.
Player is definitely allowed to make that decision.
See, the difference in practice squad is that it's not like waivers. When you get claimed off waivers, you're stuck.
Yeah.
You got to go to who claims you. Practice squad, you don't have to make that jump to somebody else's 53 if you don't want to.
Most guys do, though, because obviously
of course they do.
They'd
it's more
rather
money
be on an NFL roster
and they get on a real roster.
A practice squad.
A lot of guys will.
Yeah, obviously there are certain exceptions to that, but for the most part, these guys want to be on NFL rosters. I don't blame them.
No, I get it. Is that it?
He's off.
Great. Appreciate the call, Marco.
Thanks for the call, Marco.
I hope we explained something to folks out there who maybe don't understand quite how the practice squad works. Line 2 has JJ, also in Connecticut. You're next on the program. Hello.
Hey, Paul and Matt. Honored to talk to you guys again.
Sure.
So I'm going to the training camp on Sunday, and I'm looking at the weather report right now. I see that there's a 90% chance of rain in the morning. I was just wondering, how would that work being that I'm from Connecticut and it's around a 2-hour drive? I know they go inside to practice, but would we know ahead of time so it's not that you have to drive all the way out there just to find out that it's canceled?
Yeah, totally get the question. I would say that I know they try, they being, the operations, the events department here, they do their absolute very best to give fans as much of a heads up as possible, just as you mentioned. So no one is making that 2-hour drive to get here just to find out practice is canceled.
Right.
But at the same time, the team wants to practice outside. So if there's a chance that they might be able to, if the weather, is not the forecast is not 100% certain that it's going to rain and they're going to be forced inside, then they might, delay that decision as long as possible. So we don't have a concrete answer for you. I know they definitely try their best to give you guys as much of a heads up as possible. If it looks like it's, almost for certain going to be pouring rain and there's no way they can practice outside, I would think that, that the cancellation for the fans would be given at least a little bit ahead of time. But it really, as you know, the weather changes so quickly and so often. So unfortunately, it might be a situation where, the fans don't really know until a little bit before. I think we're just going to have to, keep an eye on the weather and sort of see what happens. But hopefully that heads up will be given to you guys as early as possible.
My best advice, would you be coming down with somebody else in your vehicle?
So actually my dad's the one driving. Me and him actually just had this conversation a couple hours ago. My dad doesn't, he's like a weather maniac where he'll look at the weather and it's rain. I don't think we're going to be able to make it this year, bud. So,
all right. Well,
here's worst comes to worst, I would have to go down by myself. But
all right. Well, here's what I would say. Okay, two things. Number one, if you check on the weather reports and that morning there's already reports about lightning, chances are you probably shouldn't even get in the car because
it says 96%. Yeah, that's not encouraging.
But lightning for sure. It doesn't matter if there's light rain or even just cloudy skies. If there's lightning, they're going inside and the public will not be able to watch, period. So lightning is a definite no-go. That just automatically, forget it. No matter how much rain may or may not be falling, lightning is a no-go. Here's my suggestion to you. If he's driving, you make sure that you have your phone on the way down, and if they haven't announced a change in the practice schedule or the cancellation at that time, as you begin driving down, you monitor the phone. Monitor the tweets, the social media of the Giants, the website of the Giants app, because trust me, as soon as the Giants operations people decide there's going to be a change, they will get it there too, probably you. Right? You're probably going to be the one who pops it, right?
Me, the social, the Giants Twitter account will announce it. As soon as a decision is made, we'll get that information out as quickly as possible.
It's going to get popped out on all the social media sites and the app and the Giants website. It's going to go out to the regular media. By that point, when I get it, I'll pop it on my Twitter as well. There'll be places that you're going to get an alert. So hopefully, if you're already on the road, maybe you're not too far down here, and then you would get the notification. And I'm sure you'll probably pop up one of those notifications on the app, wouldn't you, Matt?
Yeah, I would think that we would send a push notification on the app as soon as we have that information.
Kind of do that at last resort. Last resort.
Yeah, because I got the Big Blue, the Giants mobile app, so I have that.
Right.
I'm kind of an old soul. I'm not really on social media. All I have is the Giants Instagram page. Twitter, I don't have anything like that. Or Facebook.
It'll go up on Giants Instagram, won't it?
I would potentially. I would think.
I'm sure it's going to be on the app. I guarantee you that.
It will definitely be on the mobile app. If you have the mobile app, just make sure the push notifications, the setting is turned on, so you get that notification when we do send it. If it happens,
or
Sunday.
Keep refreshing it every 30
or
seconds.
Or you can keep refreshing if you'd want. But I would say at least I would hope that you have the push notifications on. Always, but if you don't,
always.
Okay, so you do. All right, perfect. Then, if that decision is made, we'll most likely be sending a notification out through the app to let you guys know.
I wish there was a better answer, my man, but that's the best we can do right now.
No, man, I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much, and man, I'm so excited for football to be back. I feel like a junkie who needs his fix right now. But thank you so much,
You're
guys.
singing my song.
Thank you,
Be
JJ.
well. Thanks, JJ. 201-939-4513. Let's go to Jackson in Queens. You're next on the show.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Matt. How are you guys doing today?
Hi.
Good.
to
How
talk
you
to
doing, Jackson?
All right. So I want to ask you guys, How many wins do you think is realistically possible? Should I be excited for this season? Because last season I was very excited. Week 1, looking against the Vikings, and then it just went all completely downhill. 5 minutes into the game, and then it was a terrible season. And it's been like that for the last couple of years.
Jackson, do you love the game? Do you love pro football?
I love pro football.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then my answer to you is you should always be excited about the start of the season.
I agree, and I also think, unlike last year, there's more to this team that fans should be excited about. Obviously we all want to win, no doubt about that. But the development of Jackson Dart is something that is going to be a prolonged process throughout the whole season. He, depending on how the season is going, he could be getting in towards the end of the season, and that's obviously a big part of the future, his development. Abdul Carter, seeing what he can do. Malik Neighbors in year 2. So obviously we want to win and we want as many wins as possible, but I think there are other factors to this season as well that should hopefully keep all you fans interested, regardless of what the win-loss record might be.
And do you believe in the coach so far from what you've seen from him, how his behavior? Do you have faith in this coach that he's the leader?
We've been talking about the coach and the GM for months here as people continue to ask, and we've told you very honestly that the respect that Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen have around the National Football League, people who are in this business, in this industry, it is extremely high. So I get the fact that they haven't won as many games as you would like. They haven't won as many games as they would like either. But that hasn't changed the opinion of those people who are respected and understand football. These guys are graded very highly. So, I don't know what else I can do except to repeat that one more time.
Not only that, but I think even more important is they still fully have the respect of everyone in this building. The whole entire locker room loves Coach Daboll. You can see it. I mean, we see it every day with his interactions and relationships with his players. They love him. And anytime any of them are asked about him as a coach, they all rave about him. I have not heard one player say something negative about Daboll since he took over. And, that obviously has a very big factor. I've been here. This is my 7th season. Coach Daboll is my 3rd head coach that I've seen. And I've seen other head coaches, lose the locker room a little bit. Not completely, but
I've seen some lose it a lot.
Yeah, you've been here longer than I have.
Not this guy.
Sure, yeah. He has not lost the locker room. They fully believe in him. They fully believe in this team. Obviously the last 2 seasons have not gone how anyone would like. And, following the playoff run, I think the last 2 seasons were a little bit of maybe a wake-up call to everyone, kind of shake everyone awake. But they still fully believe in him as a coach. And we see it every single day with his interactions with them, both on and off the field. They love him. So for me, I still have full faith in him, without a doubt.
All right. Appreciate the phone call.
Thank you guys so much.
Ring us up again.
Thank you, Jackson.
201-939-4513. We go to our YouTube comments. So a lot of folks are very willing to ask questions on YouTube, and that's fine. It's a way to interact with us. We're good with it. Poppy Sutra says, how are the receivers looking behind Neighbors? He wants to know about Hyatt and Slayton and Robinson. All right. We did not mention Hyatt at the beginning of this broadcast, and I apologize for that. Brian Daboll told us this morning Hyatt had some cramping and tightness yesterday with the hot weather, and therefore they held him out of today's session. Nothing to be alarmed about, but he did have to take today's session off. I apologize. We could have told you that earlier. Slayton and Robinson, we have no update on Robinson. We mentioned that to you before. And as far as Slayton goes, he practiced in full.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of how Slayton looked, I mean, he even said it himself when he spoke to the media yesterday. He's just Mr. Consistent. 4 of his 6 years, 700-plus receiving yards, despite what we can just call not the greatest quarterback play. And he still put up consistent numbers. He even said he prides himself on his consistency. And sure enough, that is exactly what we've seen from him these last few days throughout the spring. He's just consistent. he has been able to, knock off that dropping pass narrative that he might have had earlier in his career. And yeah, I mean, I don't know a better word to describe him as better than consistent, because
steady.
That's just what he is. Yeah, a synonym for consistent.
Right?
But yeah,
he's just
that works too.
He's a really good, solid NFL player.
Yeah, and he is
that's
now the longest tenured Giant. Him and Dexter Lawrence, the two players that are remaining from 2019, the only two.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy to think about. And he even said he doesn't really, yesterday, he said he doesn't really think about it too often until someone like the reporters bring it up to him, and then he thinks about it and he, realizes that's kind of crazy. That
He's
it's
the
just
old
Dex
guy.
and I.
Yeah, him and Dex.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry says, just tuning in, who was covering Neighbors on the deep ball today? We described that play very thoroughly earlier in the program. Tyler, it was Adebo. Paulson Adebo was with him step for step until the very end of the route. Neighbors hit the Jets, had extra acceleration, and then Adebo kind of stumbled and tripped and slipped. Neighbors completed the play and went for the touchdown. It's already up on the social media?
Yep, it is up on Giants Twitter. By the time Malik comes into the shot, though, Adebo is no longer there, so I can understand if you saw that, you might not know who was covering. But yeah, every practice, we on our social media, we put up a couple of the top plays. That Deontay Banks pass breakup deep down the field.
There he is. Oh no, that's the breakup.
This is the pass breakup on Darius Slayton that just got posted 15 minutes ago. So yeah, we have, as Paul and I mentioned the other day, we have cameramen all over the field covering just about every angle, in hopes that whenever there is a big play of any sort, one of the cameramen out there will catch it and capture it, and we can then post it. So keep an eye out every day after practice. We'll be getting at least a handful of highlights up each day.
Tyler, I would also mention to you again, that play to me just exemplifies the greatness of Neighbors. Because we've seen Adebo time and time again. We understand the quality of coverage that he provides. It wasn't like, he was just some Joe Schmo. No, he was with him. It looked like he was going to be able to make a play, and then Neighbors just did Neighbors things.
Yeah, honestly, it was more just a great route and play by Malik.
And what a throw.
Than anything.
Again, what a throw.
The throw, too, by Russ. But it was more than that than anything that Paulson did. Even if it didn't slip, Malik was most likely going to catch that pass.
Where does he get that little sudden second gear burst at the end of his route? He's got a sore toe. He runs faster than I do.
Well, hate to break it to you, that's not really saying much, Paul.
No, it's not. But have you seen me power walk?
Oh, have I seen you do it every day? Of course I have. But yeah, there's a reason why only going into year 2, he's already considered one of the top, we'll just say 10 to be conservative, but a top 10 receiver in the NFL already, only 1 year into his career. He is special.
Dave DeCarl says, who is a more realistic signing, Gabe Davis or Christian Wilkins? I don't know right now that either one is.
I don't disagree, but if you're asking who's more realistic between those two, I think the answer is kind of clear. Gabe Davis would be more realistic, just because Christian Wilkins, despite he is hurt, and despite whatever injury stuff that's going on, whenever he does sign, he's not signing for some minimum contract. He's signing a big fat contract with whoever agrees to a deal with him. And I don't think the Giants have the cap space to add on another huge contract like that in the middle of the season. So I don't know if either one of them will happen. Right now, I would possibly even lean, barring injuries, lean towards neither one of them happening. But if you had to pick one or the other in terms of who's more realistic, I think the answer would clearly be Gabe Davis.
Perry Mack wants to know, who is the spy for mobile quarterbacks? Well, first of all, philosophically speaking, based on what I've seen, it doesn't look like defensive coordinator Shane Bowen really wants to make a lot of use of a spy from what we saw last year. It's not something he really seems to be eager to do. Now, that also could have to do with the personnel and what the scheme they were playing last year. It just didn't fit. Could he potentially do some of that this year? Sure he could. It is possible Abdul Carter has the ability to do that. talking to Brandon Short, the former Giants linebacker, who's on the Penn State Board of Directors and knows Abdul Carter like a glove, told me very simply, he did some spying at Penn State. So if the Giants ask him to do it, it's not a problem. He's certainly capable and has already done it.
We're also getting some comments just about what that is, a spy on a mobile QB.
Oh,
if you want.
Sure, Pearson. Thank you. All right, so to clarify, a spy is basically a roving defensive player who is going to be in the back seven of the defense, and his assignment is to horizontally shadow the quarterback. As the quarterback decides he's going to use some of his mobility, he's going to roll left or he's going to roll right, or even if he's going to just drop back, that spy is supposed to horizontally mirror him or shadow him on the defensive side of the ball. And then if the guy decides to come forward and he starts to take off toward the line of scrimmage, now that spy has to go meet him at the what's the word we're talking when two things collide? What's the word I'm looking for? Geometry. The point of impact? No, not point of impact.
I was gonna say collision.
Come on, what's the geometry term?
I don't know. Point of impact sounds right.
No, there's a geometry term. Oh, my teacher from high school.
Intersection?
Yeah, that'll work. Intersection will work.
Okay.
It is the spy's job to meet that quarterback at the intersection, hopefully at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and it's not something you see every week, every game.
No.
Because it's typically only reserved for the more mobile quarterback. So, if a team is playing Lamar Jackson or Jaden Daniels, that sort of quarterback, you might see a spy, at least on some plays. Maybe not every play, but it's to try to keep those sort of extremely mobile quarterbacks from running for 100+ yards. Because if you have the opposing quarterback running for 100 yards in addition to whatever he's doing through the air, it's probably not the best day for your defense. If that is the
not
case.
At all.
So yeah, so we don't know. We have not seen it in practice yet. As Paul mentioned, if I had to just guess, Abdul Carter would fit that mold, I think, the best of the personnel that's currently on the team, especially because you could still have Brian Burns and Kayvon on the edge. It's not like you'd be taking out one of your star edge rushers and not really have someone else to then line up at that position.
Right.
Because of that surplus the Giants currently have, it would make sense, but we have not seen it yet. So
the
can't
problem
really say for sure.
When you go into a spy situation is that the spy's responsibility is simply to shadow that quarterback horizontally. You're taking him out of the rest of the scheme. His only responsibility is to make sure I follow that QB. You're taking a guy out of your defensive scheme because he's now isolated on one player. That's the danger in doing it. That's why teams don't overuse it.
Yep.
Usually the spy is your nickel linebacker or a strong safety. Usually. Those are the most common positions that are used for a spy. Papi Sutra wants to know, which receivers do you think can sneak on to the 53?
Well, we know the top four, at least.
Yeah.
With Malik, Wandell, Slayton.
Better question is how many? Is it going to be 5 or 6?
I feel like we have this question. We have this debate
every week.
Or every training camp leading into roster cutdown day. Do the Giants keep 6 receivers, 7, maybe even? 8 might be a lot, but
there's no way to keep it 8.
No, not 8. Probably 6 or 7. I feel like it's typically in that. I would say, we've had this conversation many times again. I would think that someone like Amir Smith-Marset has a very good chance because he is also likely to be in the running for the kick returner position, punt and kick return.
I don't see how you get rid of Ford Wheaton either.
Yeah, because of his abilities as a gunner. That's true.
Can't do it. So that's 6.
And that's
also 2 plus the 4.
And there are also all the undrafted guys that obviously this is going to be a big 5-6 week period for them to show what they can do. And we've seen some of them already step up throughout the spring and the first couple of days. So the battle for the bottom of the depth chart at wide receiver, I think, is going to be one of the most heated and highly competitive battles for any position in camp.
I would also say part of the problem, why I think it's a max 6, the 4 plus the 2 we just mentioned, part of the other problem is these tight ends, we've talked about this also all week. These tight ends, none of these guys have done anything that deserves to be cut. Every one of the tight ends, including Terry, who is deep on the tight end depth chart.
Yeah, was he 5th?
He's made every play he's been asked to make.
Yeah, maybe even 6th.
What has he done wrong?
Nothing. He just hasn't had quite as many opportunities as the other guys.
But he catches everything that's thrown at him.
Yeah, that's true.
These tight ends, are, folks, it's a good tight ends room. I mean, if Dulcich is 5, Terry is 6.
Yeah. And we didn't even talk about, someone like Lil Jordan Humphrey, who I have a feeling he might be one of those guys. I feel like each year there's that one guy that gets moved, between the practice squad, the active roster, gets cut, then gets signed back to the practice squad to get elevated to the active
the human
roster.
ping pong ball.
I have a feeling he might fall into that category this year. I mean, we already saw it once when he got cut to make room for someone on the roster, and then he got re-signed the very next day.
Yeah.
It's just some, roster gymnastics.
But
he's someone that Russell Wilson, obviously he's played with in the past, has spoken about many times to the media. It's someone he clearly likes, and who's also made some plays between the spring and the first few days.
I need to remind folks, too, Russell Wilson is a big Greg Dulcich fan. Played with him in Denver as well.
That is true. And he made a couple of nice plays yesterday.
He's done everything that's been asked of him. I think he's had one drop pass the whole offseason.
I think he's certainly looked better the first few days of training camp than I thought he did in the spring. I think he's already improved from the spring.
He's definitely picked it up.
Yeah, for sure.
So the tight end room is it's so deep, folks. It really, really is deep. All right, Logan in California is next on the program. Hello.
Hello, Paul. How are you doing today?
Hi, good to talk to you.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh, thank you.
A young Giants fan from the West Coast. One thing I wanted to say is I am very excited about Scabato and just his aggression and the connection he has with Dart. I love. You got to love that. And I just have two kind of broad questions. One, what do you think is holding the Giants back? For me, I think it's the offensive line. But my second question is, why does the media want to make it seem like Dart is going to be the starter, even though Dable said it day one that he's not going to be the starter?
Which one do you want, Matt?
Sorry. I'll start with Scatterbo.
Okay.
I feel like it's the easier one.
That's fine.
Yeah, well, first of all, the relationship between Cam Scatterbo and Jackson Dart has been on full display, honestly, since they were both drafted. Since draft weekend, it is clear that they have started bonding very quickly. I mean, we put this little clip out on social media with the two of them walking out to practice today. I don't know if you saw this.
I did not.
Cam Scatterbo was wearing Jackson Dart's jersey, and Jackson Dart had Cam Scatterbo's jersey in his hand. Obviously, just goofing around a little bit before practice. But
they're dudes. These guys are two dudes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The two of them especially, they have personalities that they are not afraid to show. So, yeah, it's nice to see that relationship. Again, we said it earlier, Cam Scatterbo is going to have a role in this offense, and early on. Like, he did not do anything really during the spring, but he's been, seems like full go since training camp started these first few days.
Mm-hmm.
And his pass catching ability, for starters, has been on full display. He's caught just about everything thrown in his direction, whether it's individual drills, team drills, doesn't matter. He's catching absolutely everything. So, yeah, I think between him and Tyrone Tracy, I think they're going to split carries, and Singletary is going to get carries in this offense as well. He's not just going to be banished to the bench and you're never going to see him. I think more so than in the last couple of years, it's going to be my personal opinion, we don't know this, but I think it's going to be sort of like a running back by committee and maybe just ride the hot hand each week to see who's kind of running better that week.
In answer to your other question, I'll kind of throw a question at you. Anytime you see a tweet or an article that mentions Jackson Dart, are you going to stop and pay some interest in it?
I'm not, just because I remember Dable when they first drafted him, and he was like, no, he's going to be sit in a year. Like, we're gonna wait. Gonna develop him.
I really
appreciate
appreciate your perspective because it shows your high level of intelligence and the fact that you've been listening to this program time and time again. But there are many fans out there who the second they hear or see the words Jackson Dart, they will stop in their tracks, they will click, they will pay attention, they will pluck down their change to buy the paper, and that is as good a reason as anybody on that side of the fence to continue to pepper home the Jackson Dart story.
Not only that, but, we're in New York, the New York market. It is a tough market for a professional athlete, but there are just some reporters out there that just look for, to stir a little trouble. I'm not naming names, but it's just the way it is. And so despite the fact that Brian Daboll has made it so abundantly clear that Russell Wilson is the starter, sure enough, day one of training camp, sitting up there with Joe Schoen, still gets the question, is there a competition for the starting quarterback job? And he basically said, for the 1 millionth time, Russell Wilson is our starter. So hopefully, at least for now, that will quiet down those sort of questions and whispers or whatever, because not to mention is not only has Daboll said that, but Russell Wilson has also just been the best quarterback in practice.
He's been terrific.
He has looked great. His arm looks so strong and lively. He's hitting almost like most of his throws. So even if there was a quarterback competition, which again there is not,
he would be.
Russell Wilson would be winning it by far right now.
Yes, he would.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that, and it's nice to just have some real leadership in the QB room. No offense to the previous quarterback.
Well, this guy has won a Super Bowl, been to a second, gone to 10 Pro Bowls, has Hall of Fame career numbers. There's nothing wrong with saying you have great respect for Russell Wilson. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, again, the last 3 days, and even going back to the spring, when any single player, whether it was offense or defense, was asked about Russell Wilson, again, nothing but the best positive things, raving about him, about his leadership, saying he knows what he wants. We hear the last 3 days, I feel like every single person has said, Russell Wilson just knows what he wants out of this offense. And he's working with Daboll, with Mike Kafka, to sort of bring some of his ideas and the way that he sort of envisions the offense and collaborate with the two guys who are actually running the offense to make it so everyone is doing they're bringing out the strengths of everybody.
I'm going to give you a real quick story from today's practice that'll show you exactly how much Russell Wilson has ingrained himself into this locker room, not just with his receivers or the offense. Today, when Wan'Dale Robinson and Brian Burns collided, and they both went down, and they were both down for a little bit of time, Russell Wilson came running across the field to both guys when they were down, checked on both guys, just like the coaches and the trainers did. Robinson got up first, and he started to walk away as they took him inside. Burns was still down. Russell Wilson stayed there, and continued to check on Burns until he was satisfied that he could then walk away. How many quarterbacks are going to do that for an outside linebacker?
I love that. Man, Paul, you were getting me excited.
All right, brother. You have a great day, huh?
Thank you. Yes, thanks for taking my call.
Anytime.
Have a great rest of your weekend.
You too.
Thanks, Logan. Call back.
YouTube question. Little Gio wants to know, how does Russell look throwing over the middle? He's made all the throws. Now, to the point that I've discussed schematically, yes, because of Russell Wilson's being under 6 feet, if you get pushed to the front of the pocket, that can be a problem because his passing lanes are going to be intruded upon by the pass rush. Wait till we get into pads. Wait till Monday comes and there's full practices and we truly can see the pass rush doing what they do under more normal conditions, and then see what kind of plays they run and how Russell Wilson can navigate those things. But in the past, Seattle and Pittsburgh and Denver, they all had to be aware that there are times you're going to have to rely more on rollouts because you have to give him clean passing lanes and clean passing angles. And there are going to be times he won't have that in the front of the pocket. That's just the nature of the beast. I don't care how good this offensive line is or isn't. You can't protect the front of the pocket on every single play. There are going to be times when guys push it.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, having a quarterback roll out is nothing new to the guys in this locker room right here. That's been, a thing that the quarterbacks have been doing here the last couple of years, in part because of the offensive line play, of course. I've just been keeping an eye on the chat, and I see some comments here about, the arm talent between Russ versus Jameis, and saying that some people here are saying that Jameis has more arm talent than Russ. I will just say this. If the two of them had a competition standing at the goal line who could throw the ball further, Jameis, I think, would probably be able to throw the ball a little bit further down the field. But in terms of accuracy, it's not even close. I'm going to take Russell Wilson throwing a 50-yard pass and hitting his receiver in stride over Jameis. And that's nothing against Jameis. It's just Russell Wilson is one of the best in the league at doing that. And the one thing about Jameis over his entire career has just been he's a little inaccurate sometimes. He makes an amazing throw, but then might come back the next play and have a throw that's a couple of yards off. It's just the way it is. It's sort of the Jameis Winston experience. He's also looked pretty good in the first couple of days. But in terms of, arm strength with accuracy, there's no doubt, and it's not even close, that Russell Wilson is the best quarterback in this room at that.
See, the arm strength question to me is immaterial because Russell Wilson's arm is plenty strong enough. If he had a, quote, weak arm, now that becomes an issue. But Russell Wilson has shown all of us, every single practice since he got here, he can make every throw.
Not only that, but, some people have been saying, oh, Russ, the last couple of years, he's really his game has started to fall. Well, even if you want to argue that, the one thing you cannot argue by any means is that he's gotten worse or unable to throw the deep pass. That has been his bread and butter these last couple of years.
And continues to be.
And has continued to show that from the day he stepped onto the field in the spring up until now. He's been hitting those deep passes on such a consistent basis.
Folks, that'll do it for today's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. We are done for the week, but we will be back with another live program as we are here every single weekday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, for a 1-hour live show of Big Blue Kickoff Live. Remember, there is a practice here on Sunday. Check the weather report. We've already had a phone call telling us it could be sketchy, so do check the weather report. Do check all of the Giants' social media platforms. See what's going on Sunday morning. If you see lightning, you know not to come out. And if you can come out, and if the practice is here, have a good time. We certainly enjoy having you and hope to see you then.
And regardless of the weather, Paul and I will be here.
We will.
I think John will be here. TBD, but we'll be here. So all the coverage on Giants.com, the Giants mobile app, that will still be there just like any normal day. Rain or shine, we will be here.
From the Giants Podcast Studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. He's Matt. I'm Paul. We'll see you again next time.